Tuesday evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. Whoa, what a day it has been in the weather world. Record tying, at least, hurricane landfall in Jamaica. Hurricane Melissa made landfall at 1 o'clock today on the southwest coast of Jamaica with 185 mile per hour winds and a pressure of 892 millibars. That ties for the strongest hurricane to make landfall in the Atlantic Basin. That was the 1935 Labor Day storm. That went right across the Florida Keys. Now, take a look at it now. You can see how good that eye was as it made landfall, right? Extremely strong storm. But those mountains of central and western Jamaica kind of helped tear it up a little bit, kind of scooted it off to the northeast a little bit. But if you look at that very last frame, it's starting to look like now kind of make another eye. 125 mile per hour winds now. It is still generally weakening, okay, because we were at 145 the last one. It's moving to the north-northeast at 8 miles per hour, and the pressure has come up to 950 millibars. What a big jump in pressure just through this evening. Now, you can see the big picture. You can see where it looked really good right before it made landfall, right? Just perfectly symmetrical. Excuse me. But now all eyes are actually getting to be on on the backside of Jamaica, but then onto Cuba. So you can see what's happening here on the backside. They're still getting some weather, some pretty good weather here in Montego Bay. In fact, the storm surge threat is just now ongoing in Montego Bay because remember, the winds are going counterclockwise. So now they're getting their winds like this. So they're going to have the storm surge. But I will tell you what, the areas over here that were looks like likely going to be the hardest hit. New Hope, Thornhill is a place there. Of course, Mandeville. Those spots, there is going to be a swath, and it's probably going to be somewhere like this that has just incredible damage, maybe even a little bit further over to the west right there. That whole western half is really what took the brunt of this storm. All right, I'm going to show you some video coming up of Kingston. And by the way, I'm going to show you some live video from Kingston, which means they still have power, which means they didn't get hit as bad as the folks that got hit with 185 mile per hour winds. So now it looks like there is a little bit of an eye coming at it. Now, Recon's not out there now, but they had an issue again today. They had a C-130 coming out of Keesler that had to turn around because they had so much turbulence when they hit there, and they dropped so fast and had so much shaking that they're like, well, you know what, we're okay, but let's turn it around and get the plane inspected. So it's extremely turbulent flying in those storms, and especially this one with the high winds. It's just been a wild day watching this. Now, look where the winds are. And you can see the highest winds, obviously including the center now, has moved offshore. Okay? This northeast quadrant right here is where the highest winds have been. This is where the hurricane center still could be around 140 mile per hour winds as it makes landfall here. It looks like it's probably going to end up being about 120, 125, unless it can get going again. Okay? But I would, if you're in that area, Guantanamo Bay, Santiago area of eastern Cuba, they're looking at 120, 125 mile per hour winds near the coast coming in. And that's happening tonight. All right, it's heading that direction now. Hurricane warning still in effect for Jamaica, all right, especially the western side, but the whole state has it, the whole island. Eastern Cuba has the warning, hurricane warning. The central and southeastern Bahamas and parts of the Turks and Caicos have a hurricane warning, and far eastern Turks and Caicos right there have a tropical storm warning. Same thing goes over there in Haiti. Now, this is the latest track. The latest track that we got was at 5 p.m. this evening from the Hurricane Center, and you can see what they're looking at right now. They're saying that we go 140 near landfall, and that's tonight. So we're sitting at 125 right now. I showed you that, and I'll go back to it, but it looks like the eye is trying to reform over this very warm water in here. Okay, very warm water, light shear. It's in a good spot, all right? And then it's going to make landfall. Then it'll weaken. Tomorrow morning early, after sunrise, it'll be coming off the coast of northern or northeastern Cuba. And then midday tomorrow, it's coming across those central and southeastern Bahamas as a Cat 2, or Cat 3, I should say, with 115. 111 is the minimum Cat 3. And then it'll weaken a little bit as it pulls away. But it's not going to weaken all that much. And in fact, Bermuda, I mean, yeah, one landfall in Jamaica, one in Cuba, potentially at least one in the Bahamas, okay? And then a fourth in Bermuda. It's possible. It looks like now it wants to go a little to the left there. So the center of it, has, as they track it, has to fall right over top of the center of the landmass to be an official landfall. But it's going to be very close. We're probably going to end up at least 3 landfalls with this. But look at the forecast from the Hurricane Center. Thursday night, 100-mile-per-hour winds out here. That's Cat 2 going right past Bermuda. And Bermuda has just been dodging these things all season long. Forecast models at this point, it's kind of late in the game for those, but you can see they are good agreement, taking it out. And this, remember, this tracks the center, and there is Bermuda right there. It's kind of tough to see, but if you look just to the left, that's where most of the lines are, okay? So it's plenty of time for them to keep an eye on it, but you get an idea. They're definitely going to need to watch it. Now, this is a pretty good thing. This helps get the timing and the amount of wind. So one thing to keep in mind is when a storm weakens, and it's happened a little bit today, but it's going to happen again over eastern Cuba, that yellow area you see there, that's tropical storm force winds. When that storm starts to weaken, these winds die down in here in the middle. And what happens is they actually spread out. So this orange area will spread out, and certainly this yellow area will spread out. So you could have a storm that's coming by right in here, but then all of a sudden, instead of these winds staying out here, they may get over here into northwestern Haiti. All right, just because that wind field's going to spread out. It's pretty typical for landfalling hurricanes as they weaken. I mean, you're not going to have the highest winds here. Well, the highest winds will be near the center, but you're not going to have them as high as they were when they made landfall. Okay, it's just going to continue to weaken. But the overall size of the wind field gets bigger. And you can see that here a little bit as it makes landfall tomorrow morning. This is actually 11 o'clock tonight. It's pretty close to it. I think landfall's around 2 in the morning in southeast Cuba tomorrow morning, tonight, right, Wednesday morning. And then this is 6 a.m. and the center is getting close to the northern coast. All right, sunrise is coming off, and then by midday, this is lunchtime, it's moving through the central and southern Bahamas. So again, the center has to go right over one of those islands to make it an official landfall. We'll see if that happens. But there's actually, a chance, depending on exactly where it goes, that it could have multiple landfalls there in each individual island. But the bottom line is they will have to deal with those winds through the day tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, things will get better. And then you can see this yellow area here. Again, that's 40+ mile-per-hour winds. See that get a little bit bigger as it goes by Bermuda. And also this area in here, the orange, which is basically like a severe thunderstorm warning. It's 58 mile-per-hour winds, but generally in the summertime around here, or even yesterday, we had a severe thunderstorm warning, right? And that would be for 60 mile-per-hour winds, certain size hail, nickel size hail and up. But we had it for the wind yesterday. That's what the orange is showing. So you could literally have severe thunderstorm warnings in that entire area, obviously including going up into there. They wouldn't do that, but that's just to show you how high those winds are. But you can see the center goes right past St. George and Bermuda. That's Thursday night at 11 p.m. that you're looking at right there. All right, and then it heads out to sea beyond that. Now, rainfall. This is in addition to any rainfall that they've already seen. All right, and I got to tell you, the scenes that are coming out of western Jamaica with the amount of rain and water, it's not only a ton of rain fell there, but it fell on those mountains and those valleys. They go down into those valleys and they fill up as they go off towards the ocean, and it's just incredible amounts of flowing water, mudslides, that type of thing. The flooding that's going on there just from rainfall, not even storm surge. Now, there'll be a similar setup here in central and eastern Cuba, mainly eastern Cuba, of course, but they're going to have some of those issues as well. Not as much rainfall is going to fall here as fell in Jamaica, but they're going to get a ton. This yellow in here is 7 to 10 inches of rain in a short amount of time, 12 to 24 hours. Now, this has set all kinds of records, but I just wanted to show you one of the strongest on record here as far as just pressure goes in the Atlantic basin. So when it made landfall, it was at 892. That was the lowest that the pressure got with Hurricane Melissa. That ties the 1935 Labor Day hurricane with the lowest pressure, and it's basically tied for third place ahead of Wilma and even Gilbert. And Gilbert, by the way, hit Jamaica way back and then moved off further to the west. Now, The steering current's real fast. There's a big trough coming down here. That's what you see right here. That is going to dip down and pick it up. That's the reason why, well, one of the reasons why it started to turn northeast. A little bit of friction over the land's doing that as well. But watch what happens as we go through tonight, tomorrow into Thursday midday. You see how this trough dips? It swings to the east here, and it just picks this thing up and takes it right out. Watch it go up and out. That, by the way, will also bring us some even cooler and drier weather here in Tampa Bay. And I'll talk about that coming up after the break.
Before hurricane season hits, it's time to prep your home. Familiarize yourself with where your water shutoff valve is located. If backflow prevention devices are installed, get them tested annually.
Those are some great tips, and Cool Today is here to help you weather the storm. For over 60 years, we've been here to help Floridians with their cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. We can help you prepare, protect, and repair your home. Call 888-40-TODAY.
I was driving when a Ford pickup truck barreled into me from behind, sending me to the hospital.
I knew my husband was going to need an excellent attorney, so I called Dan Newland.
I'm so glad my wife called Dan. Dan really fought for me. He won my case and got me $650,000.
If you've been involved in a car accident, allow me to fight for you. Call me now at 813-888-8000.
Thanks, Dan, for winning my husband's case.
This autumn, give your home the upgrade it deserves. Save up to 20% during California Closet's Autumn Upgrade event, making it easier than ever to transform your space with our select finishes. Whether it's a walk-in closet, home office, pantry, or garage, our designs are about more than organization. They're about creating space for what belongs. We call it practical magic, expert design that feels effortless. Visit one of our 3 Tampa Bay showrooms or schedule your complimentary consultation today at CaliforniaClosetsTampaBay.com.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. You need quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
All right, guys, real fast, I want to show you first our satellite and radar that we're looking at right here. Again, remember how concentric that eye was, just almost perfect as it was making landfall. And then it kind of fell apart as it went over land and it lost the warm water underneath. That's what's making that air rise and those thunderstorms build around the eye wall, okay? It's that warm water evaporating going up, all right? That releases heat, okay? Now that it's back out over water, look what's happening. You can see here right at the end, that is another eye developing. See this pink right here? That is showing you some of the taller cloud tops. They're starting to really circle around, and you're starting to get some of the cooler ones, or the warmer ones, what we're looking at here near the center. It's going to form another eye. It's at 125 right now. It's forecast to go 140 for landfall. It looks like it's on the way. Now, I want to show you this amazing video, satellite video of it. Well, first let's start with that. You can see very heavy rainfall, very windy, of course. A lot of this was over on the eastern side, but you see that water right there? That brown water you saw there, that was before really the heaviest stuff even got there. And over on the west coast, they are seeing much more wind, much more rain, and they're having a much severe problem. They're going to be without power for days and weeks in many of those locations. The eastern parts, we're actually still getting some video coming out of there live right now. As a matter of fact, you know, guys, I'm sorry I'm going to do this. We're going to jump ahead. Can we get over and look at some of those live cams, that 4-box that we have? A lot of that's coming from central and eastern, especially eastern Jamaica. And they got power, right? People driving around, weather's getting better. It is improving for them and will continue to improve. But that's a little deceiving because that's the eastern part of the country. If you go back over towards the central and western part, there's going to be about a 60 to 70 wide mile swath of just devastation. All right, the whole island itself is about 140 miles wide. Now, CBS reporter Jason Allen, he's in Jamaica's capital of Kingston and shows us the impact of landfall earlier today.
Hurricane Melissa came on shore about 75 miles west of where we are, but it is taking hours to cross this island. Incredibly strong winds, heavy, heavy rain, and now, not surprisingly, flooding, also a very big concern. Hurricane Melissa slammed into Jamaica with winds up to 185 miles per hour and heavy rains.
Today will be very difficult for tens of thousands, if not millions of people in Jamaica. Roofs will be tested, floodwater will rise, isolation will become a harsh reality for many.
The National Hurricane Center issued a dire warning. Within the eye wall, total structural failure is likely. This video U.S. Air Force hurricane hunters took inside the storm shows a massive wall of clouds.
Jamaica, this is not the time to be brave. Don't bet against Melissa.
For days, officials here pleaded with residents to get to shelters or buildings that can withstand the winds and flooding. Aid teams are standing by to get to work as soon as it's safe. Others are ready to fly in supplies. Jamaicans living in the U.S. are watching the storm closely. Minneapolis restaurant owner Tommy Beavis says he's been in constant communication with family and friends back home.
They've been doing a good job stocking up on food, and we're just hoping that they have enough. And then the aftermath of the hurricane, with the flooding, with the devastation, we're hoping that they will have the resources for the immediate recovery as well as the long-term rebuilding.
Melissa's next target, Cuba. Authorities there say they've already evacuated more than 500,000 people from low-lying areas. When Melissa made landfall, its strength did drop just slightly from 185 down to 165 miles per hour, but that is still an incredibly strong Category 5 hurricane, and it is going to leave a path of destruction as it crosses this island. Jason Allen, CBS News, near Kingston, Jamaica.
And that's the good side of the island right there as far as damage goes. That's just incredible. This will be in textbooks. There are vortices inside the eye wall. We know that we've seen those drawn in textbooks. The picture from the satellite looked just like the picture drawn in a textbook today. And years ago, we didn't even think those things existed in there. This thing is setting many kind of records here. All right. Earlier today, we were fortunate enough to talk to Dr. Rick Knabb up at the Weather Channel. And one of the topics we were talking about is what happens after it gets through Jamaica and moves into Cuba. What does that look like? Let's hear from him.
And it will have, some opportunity to regather some of its organization, and there will still be plenty left of it after it leaves the coast of Jamaica. And so we're expecting a major hurricane landfall here somewhere in southeastern Cuba. And a lot of the same sorts of things will happen here with storm surge coming in, rainfall, floods and landslides trying to go the other way, and then the devastating winds in a mountainous environment. And again, a relatively short stay over land, and it's still going to be a major hurricane or close to it when it comes off of Cuba, and it's still going to be a slow weakening process. So this, I would say, is another one of those major hurricane warnings, and this is close to it for the southeastern Bahamas. And just like Jamaica, not every part of the island is going to be affected the same way because of Melissa coming ashore on the western side of the island. The impacts are going to be different on different parts of the island. And I always want to respect the folks in the Bahamas by not saying this hurricane is going to hit the Bahamas. Well, it's not going to hit the northwestern Bahamas. Right. It's the southeastern and central Bahamas that are in the hurricane warning, and because that's a very long island chain.
Yeah. Nassau, for instance, is not in there. You get up towards Marsh Harbor, not in there. Okay, they're all up in this northern and northern central as well, Bahamas. Now, the thing with Cuba's been seeing rain already. Guantanamo Bay, Gitmo, has been evacuating non-essential employees and their families since Saturday. In fact, they wanted most of them out this past Saturday. I think they got the last of them out Sunday. That was kind of the last time they wanted to get everybody out of there. So they've been preparing, but the other folks in Cuba, you got to make sure they've prepared. It's too late now. It's dark. The rain's just going to pick up. The wind's constantly picking up, and they've got close to 130 to 140 mile per hour winds coming in tonight. Now, let's go over to Patrick Opman. He's in Cuba, and the people there brace for what's expected to be the second landfall tonight.
The first outer bands of Hurricane Melissa are beginning to arrive here in eastern Cuba. Of course, conditions are just going to get worse and worse. We've seen the streets Up until now, really kind of full of people doing their last minute shopping that they could, trying to find food, cash from ATMs. And now it's a lot more subdued, a bit of a ghost town. People are nervous, and they have very good cause to be, because this is one of the most powerful hurricanes that this part of Cuba has seen in years, if not longer. And the question is when these punishing winds come in, they will pick up roof tiles on some of these older homes, and those become shrapnel. Some of these houses, which are in some cases more than 100, 200 years old, it's not clear if they will withstand Melissa's punishing winds. Thousands of people have evacuated from low-lying areas, but by and large, people say they've done this before, they're used to hurricanes, they don't evacuate, they just wait it out in their homes, and you just have to wonder if this time around, if that's the wise choice to do, because this is simply a storm that could be more powerful than anything Cubans have seen in their lifetime. Patrick Ottman, CNN, Santiago de Cuba.
Yeah, let's hope that they are okay. Now, we are fortunate here. We had a cold front come through today. Really? Did you feel a little bit cooler and drier out there this afternoon? And that one you see on the map right there comes in tomorrow. And that one really keeps us cool and dry for the upcoming weekend. I'll show you how it kicks the storm out, and we'll talk our weekend local forecast right after the break.
I was involved in a very bad car accident. Called attorney Dan Newland, and it was like 1, 2, 3. Dan really got it done for me. At the end of my case, he got me $525,000.
As one of the largest personal injury law firms in the United States, my team and I remain committed more than ever to win big on your case. Involved in a car accident? Let's get started. Call me at 813-888-8000.
Thank you, Dan, for winning my case.
This autumn, give your home the upgrade it deserves. Save up to 20% during California Closet's Autumn Upgrade event, making it easier than ever to transform your space with our select finishes. Whether it's a walk-in closet, home office, pantry, or garage, our designs are about more than organization. They're about creating space for what belongs. We call it practical magic, expert design that feels effortless. Visit one of our 3 Tampa Bay showrooms or schedule your complimentary consultation today at CaliforniaClosetsTampaBay.com.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. Unique quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
With a fresh new look and over 60 years of keeping Floridians comfortable, Cool Today is the name to trust for fast same-day service. Cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Our friendly expert technicians take the hassle out of home repair today. And Cool Today is here for you tomorrow, too. That's why we're introducing a parts and labor warranty on select AC systems for a lifetime. For cooling, plumbing, or electrical service, get the best from today and for years to come. Cool Today.
Okay, guys, let's take a look at that front coming in here to cool us off as we move through the next couple of days. So that little green stripe you see over Florida right there over Tampa, that's a little bit of rain that comes through tomorrow evening, and then the front, and you can see how it picks the storm up and takes it out. The storm is already kind of on its way, but this is Thursday evening, and you can see it's already out here towards Bermuda. All right, there it is. There's Bermuda. All right, and then behind that, we just have cool, dry air all the way through the weekend. The front, that front, is right now over eastern Arkansas, central Louisiana, with actually a tornado watch over southwestern Louisiana. I don't expect any severe weather with us. In fact, it's a real thin line of showers coming through for us. Look what's happening right now. I mean, most areas are in the 60s. South of I-4, we're in the low 70s. Very comfortable there as well. Plus, the humidity has dropped. These are the dew points. 64, it was 70-something at this time yesterday. It was about 72. And look at the 50s up in the Panhandle. And when the second front comes through tomorrow night, the air's even drier. So this is tomorrow morning, a few patches of fog in the morning, not a big deal, mostly sunny all day. And then just before sunset, or around sunset, the clouds are going to thicken up. And here comes the front. See that real thin line of showers? Look at the wind out over the Gulf. Look at those wind arrows. It's going to get breezy and cool. That is cool, breezy. In fact, that is the coolest and the driest air we have seen so far this season. So much so it picks up some low clouds. It makes really low clouds. Think lake effect snow. It's just not that cold to do that. But you know how that cold air picks up the clouds off of the lake and blows them over towards Buffalo and places like that. Same thing is happening here. We could get a couple sprinkles along the immediate coast, but more than anything else, that's just some low clouds through the first half of Thursday, and then we clear things out. And it's going to be gorgeous as we lead up into Halloween as well. So here we go with the forecast. Tomorrow, upper 70s to a few spots south of I-4 in the low 80s. Beautiful day, low humidity. Watch again for that shower right around 7:30, and we'll update. Not everybody's even going to get one, but it's a quick one, and I mean a real quick one coming through. Wake up temps. This one got out of order. That's going to be a chilly one, but look at this. Thursday afternoon, 75 degrees. Oh, it's going to feel fantastic. Look at the lower humidity. This is coming behind that second front, and those dew points just plunge. When you get those numbers low, you can lower your overnight low temperatures. All right, they're not going to get below that number. So the lower that number gets, the cooler you can get. Doesn't mean you will get there, but it means the cooler you can get. So we're going to be dry, we're going to be cool, we're going to be mostly clear. At least Thursday, Friday, we'll start to get mostly clear. But look at Halloween. I mean, Friday, we're going to start in the 50s in the morning. We're going to be in the lower 70s for highs on Halloween, which means trick-or-treat times like 63, 60. We're dropping from like maybe 67 to 63 degrees or so. It's going to be cool out there. Some spots are going to be a little bit cooler than that.